morning. It is July 31st, 5:05 a.m. I can't believe July is over. I know that's like the most cliche old guy comment ever, but seriously, I don't know where the hell this year went. So, thank you for joining me for another edition of Live with Gabriel. And today we're going to be reading When Darkness Falls by Ana Guiterrez, which was a really good book. It does come with a content advisory, which I'm going to go ahead and read really quick. This book contains themes of self-harm and mental health challenges, which may be disturbing for some readers. Reader discretion is advised. I really liked this book. I'm going to go ahead and put it up as 4 stars on front so everyone can see it. This book was actually a challenge for me to read, and the reason being is because I write most of my stuff in third person, and I try to write some stuff in first person, and I'm not going to lie, I kind of struggle with it. The first person perspective in this book was done well, but I had trouble. It's funny because I used to be critical of people that would make this particular comment. I had trouble in my mind kind of working with the tense that this particular book was written in versus the type of tense that I would write in, and it definitely got me. I have to say too, I don't know why I didn't point it out right away, but this is a beautiful cover, actually an amazing cover, so I definitely really liked it. And that's going back to what I was saying about the way it's read before I started the read, actually. That's one of the challenging things about having writers read your book, because, when you write a book, you're definitely putting yourself out there. You're taking a lot of risks, you're exposing your soul and so on and so forth, and quite frankly, other authors are doing just the same. And you really don't know how that particular author is helping themselves, because writing a book it's a lot about getting your story on paper, but a lot of it is, especially if you do like a nonfiction, or if you're doing a fiction that hits really close to home, is kind of working through your own instances and your own, issues, you could even say. But that's one of the dangers when you're a writer or an author reading another author, is like, what's going to come into play? And so for me, the story was really good. It's probably one of the things I appreciated the most about When Darkness Falls, the depth of the story. But I did struggle with the tense of the first person thing. And I have to put the caveat, put a little asterisk right there. I do believe that was primarily kind of my own struggle. And other authors may notice the same thing if they write things in first person and so on and so forth. So I do want to put that out as a caveat, and definitely put in 4 stars for this book because it was a really rich story, and there were a couple things I'll talk about at the end that I really liked, some really incredible devices. Definitely going to mention those. So without further ado, enough for me talking, right? Let's get into chapter 1. Oh, I wish I had it on paper version, but I have the Kindle version. Sorry, Anna, my bad. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The room falls early, silent, the doctor's words echoing like distant whispers. Ba-bump, ba-bump, ba-bump. My heart pounds against my chest so fiercely that it drowns out the world around me. The news strikes me like a sudden gust of wind, ripping through the very fabric of my existence, leaving me gasping for air. Seated in the sterile, suffocating hospital room, the only sound reaching my ears is the monotonous ticking of the clock on the wall. I strain to comprehend the doctor's words, my gaze fixed on his mouth, desperately attempting to decipher the incomprehensible. I can see his lips moving, yet all I can hear is the ringing in my ears and the thumping of my heart. Miss Lopez? I clasp my trembling hands together, seeking solace in the tangible sensation, grounding myself in the present. Is there anyone you'd like for us to contact for you? I shake my head, words caught in my throat. Once again, I'm sorry for your loss. With those words, the doctor turns and leaves. The weight of his message settles in my chest, and it's debilitating. In that solitary moment, immersed in silence, my emotions become my only company. Fumbling, I reach into my purse and dial my brother's number. Hello? Words elude me, refusing to form or find their voice. Isabella? Hello? I swear, Isabella, I don't have time for my brother demands. He's gone, I manage to utter. Who's gone? He's gone, I say. As the words escape my lip, a wave of sorrow crashes against the shores of my soul, swallowing me whole. The dam holding back my tears finally gives way. Tears stream down my face, mingling with the salty taste of grief that fills my mouth. I gasp for air, yearning for someone to rescue me from the suffocating weight of my emotions. It has been an agonizing week since I got that fateful phone call about Julian's accident. Stepping into the hospital, I had no idea my life was about to change forever. Now I'm standing in my dimly lit room, alone, drowning in a sea of grief that feels endless, like it might pull me under at any moment. Today is the day I have to say goodbye to Julian, and just the thought of that makes my throat tighten, a lump forming that I can barely swallow past. I take deep breaths, trying to steady myself, but the tears are relentless, swelling up despite my efforts to hold them back. In this moment, I feel utterly alone, trapped in the grip of my sorrow, yearning for someone, anyone to pull me back from the brink of despair. Before I can collect myself, a gentle knock echoes through the room, startling my fragile composure. "Come in," I call out, my voice a mere whisper. The door creaks open, revealing Manny's concerned face. He enters quietly, closing the door behind him as if stepping into a secret sanctuary of sacred sorrow. "You ready to go?" he asked, his voice filled with empathy. I shake my head, feeling the weight of the impending farewell press upon me. "No, but do I really have a choice?" I feel Manny's hesitation, his struggle to find the perfect words to ease my pain, but before he can even try, I move towards him, seeking refuge in his presence. I wrap my arms around his waist, burying my face against his chest. In that moment, everything seems to melt away, the grief, the uncertainty, the weight of the world on my shoulders. I feel his tense muscles slowly relax, his arms wrapping around me in a comforting embrace. It's as if, for just a moment, the world stops spinning, and all that matters in the warmth of this world of his arms around me, the steady rhythm of his heartbeat against my cheek. Manny has always been the strong, silent type. He carried the weight of the world on his shoulders, stepping up as both big brother and stand-in parent for Sarah and me after our parents passed away when we were teens. That's kind of a rough life, just saying. Parents gone, another person gone. He wasn't big on showing his feelings, but his actions always spoke louder than words. He made so many sacrifices for us, like taking that tough job that kept him away from home most of the time. We barely saw him, but his hard work paved the way for us to go through college. When I called him that life-altering night, I knew I'd rattled him. Sure, it would have been easier to reach out to Sarah, who lived just a few miles away, but what I really needed in that moment was my big brother's reassurance. I wanted to hear him say everything would be okay, but the words got stuck in my throat, drowned out by a flood of emotions. In the end, it was Sarah who rushed to the hospital to pick me up, while Manny scrambled to catch a flight home from across the country. It was a reminder that even when worlds fail us, family is always there to pick up the pieces. When Sarah finally arrived at the hospital, I was a wreck. Tears streamed down my face as she embraced me, her own sobs echoing mine. She tried everything to ease my pain, even pleading with the doctors to prescribe sleeping pills, but they refused, deeming it unnecessary. Instead, we turned to our Tia Sofia, one of my dad's sisters, who came through with pills from her son, a doctor in Mexico. Those little pills became my lifeline, offering a brief escape from the overwhelming grief that nearly consumed me. At night, the pills offered solace, guiding me through the darkness and shielding me from the intensity of my sorrow. But with each new day, reality crashes back in, the weight of my loss hitting me all over again. I'm going to go ahead and stop the read right there, because before I lose my train of thought, the introduction of the pills very early on was very important. It was a very important device to kind of the nature of the story as it would progress forward, with the title When Darkness Falls. I don't want to do a giveaway, so as far as like plot or anything like that, so I'm going to do a little asterisk here. Potential spoiler. So if you're getting into this book, you don't want to go any further as far as, a spoiler alert or whatever. I don't think this is going to spoil it, but let's just say I'm 50-50. So there's a spot around page 100 where there's a visitation, I'm going to say. And there's kind of an allusion or leading up to a character making a return, if you will. And one of the masterful things that the author does is brings back into effect, I don't want to say hallucinogenic, but the impact of pills and drugs. And what it does is it really helps the reality that, we probably don't live in a world where you can have a return. But if something happens, especially for the reader, where you look at it and you're like, well, wait a minute, is this the reality in the story for the character, or is something else going on? And it was very pivotal. It's very pivotal and a very important device that the author used very, very well. So I want to point that out, that one of the things this author does is, though the footing may be a little bit slower as far as getting to like, a particular action piece, because it's really not an action story or anything like that. But while the footing may seem just a little bit slower, getting there and using the devices, it keeps you really, really well engaged while making it, quite frankly, a heartfelt sort of a deal. And definitely a transitional piece where the character has to go through so many things. And so that I did like about it. Now, when I say the story progressed, I don't say slow, but a little slower than, say, some of the action pieces that I would write or read, I think that's important, because you don't want a book that has heart to be flooded with action, and you don't want a book that has a lot of action to have too much heart, because then it's boring. And I do believe that When Darkness Falls, I think it got it right. I think it got it very, very right. So I definitely want to give it 4 stars. Good read. Check it out. All that good stuff. So I want to thank you for joining me thus far. And before we leave, I want to talk about the next giveaway. I am be giving away The Sandcastle in the Rain by Sean Imants. So this was a really cool book because its originality was pretty much off the charts. I'm not going to lie. The storyline, the characters, the everything. It was really, really original. Definitely like it. I guess I could read the back of it. Actually, I don't know if I can. I need more light. I don't know if you noticed my lighting changed up a little bit. I'm a little concerned about the autofocus. I may have to spend some time with that. Earth 2163, 15 years after a nuclear war, only 12 fledgling settlements of humans remain on Earth. In cities sheltered from the radioactive ashes. Artificial life, the instigator of the war, that is so relevant right now. Instigator of the war, AI, was banished by the 7 colonies. Only Dr. Wasserman and his band of outcasts have managed to evade justice, striking at the settlements from their hidden fortresses and forsaken wastelands. The Sandcastle. First part of the synopsis, really good book. Part of the giveaway, so I'll make a post for that shortly at some point, so you can go ahead and get yourself engaged in the giveaway. You might get it. I just gave away a book a little while ago, and I have not gotten the validating photograph for that, but I'm sure they will be doing that pretty soon. So thank you for joining me, and if you made it this far, hopefully I did well. If you didn't make it this far, at least I tried. We will see you next time. Any books that you